About 4 years ago, I think it was, one of my students came up with the idea of CSD. That was what it was going to be called. Now, I had long earlier come up with the idea that you could have fun competing in sentence diagramming. Competitive sentence diagramming, CSD. And by the way, competition has an I there. It's one of those tricks of spelling. Is this going to be an E or an I? Well, think of the noun. Competition is going to be an I. If you would Google competitive sentence diagramming, it would lead you to some things that are fairly curious. Sentence Diagrammer 1 is a channel on YouTube. I believe that there are only 10 videos there, and nothing has really been added to it for quite a long time. But you might be amused to see it. There is fun to be had with sentence diagramming. Something which I am not sure if it would work with the British system, phrase structure diagramming. I'm not sure if it would work or not. It might. But it clearly works with Reed-Kellogg. And we've had some fun. It gets actually a little bit too exciting sometimes. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. But if you go to that, and I hesitate in a way to have you do too much looking on YouTube elsewhere. There are some very, very good videos about sentence diagramming, and some of them are done by people who really love the art, and they're very well done. So help yourself if you want. Although I still have about a little over a week to teach it my way. And I think you might do best to stick with me, if you haven't gone elsewhere yet, until I get to the end. And then take the knowledge that you have from me and look at these other teachers and what they've done. You'll find that for the most part, there's agreement. Well, in sentence, on that channel, you will see that I set about teaching diagramming sentences to a class, as I say, about 4, maybe 5 years ago. It was only one class. I wasn't teaching it to all my classes. It was extra. It was because it was fun. It was around that time that I had a 7th grade class. I was teaching 8th grade. These were 8th graders. A 7th grade class was interested because they heard all the shouting and the carrying on and all the excitement in my room, and wondered, what is that? And that made it possible for me to, I told you about this earlier, go into that class and in a half hour show them what's going on so that they could get started. That's the very class, I think, that then 2 or 3 years later, 2 years later I want to say, well maybe 1 year later, helped me to put online the complete set of notes, humanitynotes.com. I'm sort of digressing here. Let me go back to this. Anyway, if you go there, you'll see me teaching to a class. A kid is holding a camera and filming it, and I was going to teach the whole system. I didn't make it because by the last video, I'm on a walker. What happened that fall was I fell off a roof just outside the door here. I fell off a roof and broke my hip, and I couldn't teach very well for a while, but I still kept trying. And so you'll see me using a walker and even having a student do the writing because I couldn't bend down. My hip was broken, this hip. Anyway, look at it if you're curious. You would find that it's the same stuff that I have taught so far. I think the farthest I got was objective complements, and then I realized I just don't have time. But if you want to go to the competition, where it says round 1 and round 2, there you can get a glimpse of how exciting competitive sentence diagramming can be, and how much fun kids can have with it. Now, it's a little chaotic. Sorry, but it's exciting. I'll have more to say about that, but the work at hand first is to finish the whole story. of Reed-Kellogg sentence diagramming, and it will take about one more week to do that. Well, I hope you come back tomorrow.